All right, let's get right into it. We're breaking down an article that really digs into something that's making a lot of creatives, well, pretty anxious right now: artificial intelligence. The author makes this fascinating case titled, "Why Ignoring AI Won't Save Creativity, It Just Lets the Worst of It Win." And it just nails this tension that so many of us feel, this urge to just look away and pretend it's not happening.
I'm sure you've been there. You're talking with friends or colleagues, someone brings up AI, and you immediately hear something like this quote from the source. It's ruining everything. You know? It's that gut reaction, that deep, sinking feeling that we're losing something really important.
But here's the twist. This is the central question the article wants us to wrestle with. What if that instinct to just turn our backs on it, to refuse to even talk about it? What if that's actually the worst thing we could do for creativity? What if ignoring AI is the real danger here?
So that leads us straight to the first huge problem the article points out: the silence. The argument is that in a lot of creative communities, there's this unspoken agreement to just shut the conversation about AI down before it can even get started.
The author paints this picture that is just so relatable. They're hanging out with some writer friends, the topic of AI comes up, and you can just feel the entire mood of the room shift. Faces get tight, you hear a groan, and boom, the topic is dead on arrival, all because of a very real fear for the future of their craft.
And that shutdown, it's usually fueled by these same fears, which the author hilariously calls the parade of grumpy geese. We've all heard them, right? It's going to replace us. It has no soul. It's just fancy plagiarism. Real artists don't use shortcuts. Now, these are valid worries, for sure, but the point here is that they tend to end the discussion instead of actually starting a meaningful one.
Okay, so what happens when we all go silent? What's the real consequence? Well, the article argues it creates something really dangerous: a vacuum. This is what's left behind when the people who care the most about quality and creativity just decide to check out of the conversation.
And I thought this was a brilliant distinction the article makes. It's about two different mindsets. On one side, you have healthy skepticism. That's the voice that says, okay, hold on, let me understand this thing properly. It's critical, it's engaged. But on the other side, you've got willful blindness. That's the one that just says, you know what, if I just close my eyes, maybe it'll all go away. And that second one, that's where the author says the trouble really starts.
So here's the critical chain of events. It starts when the skilled, the ethical, the really thoughtful creators, the people with taste and a deep love for their craft, decide this whole AI thing just isn't for them, and they wash their hands of it completely.
See, they don't stop AI from happening. It's too late for that. What they're really doing is creating a vacuum. They're leaving this big empty space in our culture where their voices, their high standards, and their expertise ought to be.
And you can guess what rushes in to fill that void, right? Exactly the stuff that gives AI a bad name. The article points to all the junk we're already seeing: AI-generated books with zero editing, copy-and-paste novels flooding online stores, questionable self-help guides, just a tidal wave of low-effort, low-quality stuff churned out for a quick buck, not for art.
In this quote right here, this is the core of the author's warning. When the people who actually care go silent, it doesn't come across as a noble protest. It starts to look a lot like complicity. By stepping away, they're accidentally handing over the future of these tools to the worst actors in the space.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty bleak. But if retreating is the problem, what's the answer? Well, this is where the article shifts gears and starts charting a much more hopeful path. It argues that getting engaged is a way more powerful strategy than just backing away.
And to make this point, it helps to zoom out and get some perspective. This isn't the first time a new technology has completely shaken up the creative world. I mean, look at this timeline. Writers and artists have had to adapt to massive changes before: the printing press, the typewriter, word processors, the internet. The argument is that generative AI is just the next chapter in this long story of creative adaptation.
So what does engagement actually accomplish? The author lays out 4 really clear benefits. When creatives get involved, they can help shape the standards of what's good and what's not. They can fight to keep the human element front and center. They stay relevant and part of the cultural conversation. And, maybe most importantly, they help protect the entire creative world from being devalued by all that junk we talked about.
Which brings us to the elephant in the room, right? That big fear of being replaced. But the article makes this powerful case that there's something fundamental about us, about the human experience that AI it can't replicate. It's our unique lens on the world.
The big idea here is to completely reframe how we see this tool. Don't think of it as a replacement. Think of it as an amplifier, a tool that can extend our imagination, help us break through creative blocks, something that works with our unique voice, instead of flattening it. It's a collaborator, not a competitor.
And this next quote from the article absolutely nails it. AI can generate text, yes, but it hasn't lived a life. I mean, that's the whole ballgame, isn't it? It can mimic patterns it's been trained on, but it has no memories, no heartbreak, no joy, no first-hand experience of what it means to be human.
So what does that lived life actually look like? The article gives these beautiful, specific examples. It's the feeling of holding a loved one's hand without saying a word. It's waking up with a memory from 20 years ago fresh in your mind. It's being shaped by a world that has left its fingerprints all over you. That is the raw material of human creativity, and it's a place an algorithm simply can't go.
The author shares this perfect little anecdote. They say working with AI is like having a new team member who is just so eager to help. Sometimes it comes up with something brilliant, and other times it suggests a talking lamppost for the middle of a serious, dramatic scene. The point is, it still needs a human in the driver's seat, someone with actual taste and judgment to guide it.
So where does all this leave us? Well, it all comes down to a really critical choice. This isn't just about some new software. It's about who gets to decide what the future of creativity even looks like.
In the end, the author concludes that the real choice in front of us isn't a simple AI versus no AI. That ship has sailed. The real question is, who gets to guide it? Is it going to be the people who care deeply about craft and story and meaning, or will it be the people who just want to flood the world with cheap, easy content?
And that leaves us with one last really important question to think about. If the artists, the writers, the designers, the creators, the very people who care the most about quality and soul aren't in the room helping to build this future, then who will be? It really flips the script. It suggests that getting involved isn't just an option anymore. It might just be our responsibility.